Oh, hello everybody. We're here at Millennial Park and we're talking about physics. So, Zeenat, could you please introduce yourself and tell me what you do for a career?
Sure. My name is Zeenat Baig, and I'm a software engineer.
That's great. So, yeah, it's interesting. You're a software engineer, but you started studying physics. So why did you choose physics?
So I really liked math. Like math was something that was really big, and I really liked just solving things, you know? It's weird. I started out as a biology major, and then I didn't like that it wasn't so analytical. I didn't like memorizing a bunch of stuff. I liked it when you gave me something and it's like, okay, well now I have to figure it out. So I realized that hey, physics is all that. It's an application of the math, and it's a lot of problem solving. So I thought that was really cool.
So after you did, what additional steps did you have to do after studying physics to end up as a software engineer?
So it's really cool. It was a little weird in the sense that when I was a physicist, in Adelphi at my university, it was like a little bit of an interesting degree because we kind of got in a way that we got kind of a little bit of everything. We had a little bit of electrical engineering, we had a little bit of that, static civil engineering, and we definitely did a little bit of software engineering. So, the first software class that I ever took was MATLAB. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I could put that on my resume. And I did an internship with the Department of Energy at Ames National Lab. And when I walked in, it was a chemistry lab. So I was like, yeah, they have my physics background, physics, chemistry, did a little bit of chemistry as my undergrad. He sat me down and he's like, oh, you know software, you know coding. I see that on your resume. And I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, I know how to do it. And I got picked up to do research, but I was their programmer with a little bit of programming. And again, going back to that problem solving side, it was still there, having to kind of think through hey, how do I get to the end? Not just memorize things, but figure out hey, how do I do this? And I think in a way that's what physics is, problem solving.
Problem solving. So how has studying physics been a win for your career?
I think, especially in today's day and age, when there's a lot of people in software engineering, having that background, obviously you still have to, as a physicist, I had a little bit of that software background, but I did have to study a lot after. I actually had to a little bit look into the theory behind it. I had to look into algorithms, things like that. But having that physics background makes you stand out because now you're not just a person who knows how to code. You have an analytical background. When somebody meets you or sees your resume, they think, hey, this person's really smart. And I think that is a win for me. And I notice it even today. That's great.
That's great. It's awesome that you can see it in actual day-to-day things.
Yeah.
So as a software engineer who works at a bank, how much I don't want to know your salary, but how much do people usually make?
Well, typically I would say in the banking industry, most of us start, it's around 100 to 150,000, the median salary, I would say.
Okay, great. Thank you. So what does a typical day look like for you?
So typically, we always start off by, meeting with my team. We have a daily stand-up. We talk about what we're going to be working on, how much stuff we have, any issues that we have. And then most of the time I'm heads down coding, but in between there's a lot of meetings that we have to do, reviewing what we've been working on, showing our product owners hey, this is what we've been working on, things like that. But yeah, that's usually how a typical day goes.
Great. So what's one thing you wish you knew when you were in college that you didn't know?
I wish I knew that a lot of time career paths are not very linear. There's a lot of ways that people could get to the same position. If I talk to my coworkers today, everybody has their own story of how they got here.
Yeah.
I have a coworker who was actually previously a bus driver.
Wow.
Yeah, and he started later in life, and granted he's a little bit older than me, but yeah, people come from so many different ways. So I feel sometimes students go into college thinking hey, I need to become this and I have to do this, it's oh, I want to become, I don't know, electrical engineer. I have to become I have to do this. And it's there's so many ways to get there, and, give yourself that freedom to see what else is out there with a physics degree.
So that's kind of leads right into the next question. What advice do you have for students who are starting out?
I would say really try different things. Like if like let's say you're going in for physics, take an art class. You don't know what you like. I started off as a biology major and I was like, oh wow, this is nice. And I took chemistry class. I'm like, hey, this is actually really cool. But then at the same time I was taking things like history or jazz. You just don't know where your college experience is going to take you. There's just so many pathways that you could go, and you don't know what you like until you get into it. And I feel like when I was in high school, I had a teacher, and I used to always be really good at math, and I took a math class. I did terrible, like I failed, whatever. And I was like, man, maybe I'm just not good at math. But sometimes one experience gives you an outlook on something, but that's not usually, that's not the whole picture.
Full story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So is there anything else you want to share?
I'm just thinking. I would just say, yeah, like if you're an analytical person, I think physics is a great way to start. Being a problem solver. If you like puzzles, I don't know. For me, whenever I think of coding, when I thought of math problems in school, physics problems, it was always a puzzle to me. So if you're that type of person, I think having this type of career, like even just getting into the sciences or math, it's amazing, I would say.